The Academy's towering crystal spires reached into the orange sky, their surfaces catching the light of dual suns. 12-year-old Ji-woo Park stood at the massive entrance gates, clutching her acceptance letter as alien species of all shapes and sizes streamed past. Some floated, others crawled, and a few moved in ways that defied Earth physics. Ji-woo took a deep breath and stepped forward, becoming the first human child ever admitted to the Galactic Academy. "You're in the wrong place, small one," said a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms. "The Juvenile Learning Center's on the other side of the capital." "I'm Ji-woo Park, Earth Delegation," she replied, holding up her credentials. "I'm supposed to report to Professor Taejo." The alien's eyes widened, all 3 of them blinking in sequence. "You're the human prodigy? But you're so tiny." Ji-woo had grown used to such reactions. On Earth, she had exhausted every educational resource by age 10. When her quantum communication theories caught the attention of galactic scientists, the Academy had reluctantly offered her a place, though many professors had protested accepting a primitive species offspring. Professor Taejo proved to be the most difficult. The 6-armed academic glared down at Ji-woo during her first lecture. "Perhaps humans consider this advanced knowledge," he said when she answered his question correctly. "But here, it is merely the foundation for actual learning." The other students, all at least 5 years older than Ji-woo, snickered. A tall, slender student named Kyung leaned over to her. "Don't worry about Taejo. He treats everyone like that at first." But the professor's disdain continued. When Ji-woo submitted her first project proposal on quantum entanglement applications, Taejo dismissed it without reading past the first page. "Your species has barely mastered space travel," he told her. "You cannot possibly grasp quantum mechanics at our level." That night, Ji-woo cried in her quarters, homesick and doubting herself. Her room's environmental controls couldn't quite replicate Earth's atmosphere, leaving the air feeling slightly wrong. She missed her parents, regular food, and not feeling like a science experiment. "I don't belong here," she whispered to herself. But the next morning she went to the laboratory anyway. If she couldn't impress them with theory, she would show them with results. For weeks she worked alone, often sleeping on a cot beside her equipment. Kyung found her there one night. "You're going to burn out," he warned, bringing her a container of food. "Even the brightest stars need rest." "I have to prove I deserve to be here," Ji-woo replied, adjusting her prototype. 3 months into her first term, Ji-woo requested a demonstration for the faculty. Professor Taejo arrived with obvious reluctance, along with 5 other professors and the academy headmaster, Doyun. "This better not waste our time," Taejo muttered. Ji-woo activated her device. A small sphere of light appeared, then split into 2 identical spheres that floated to opposite sides of the room. "Standard hollow projection," one professor yawned. "Watch," Ji-woo said. She touched one sphere, drawing a pattern with her finger. Instantly, the same pattern appeared on the distant sphere. "Zero latency transmission," she explained. "My quantum link doesn't just send data faster than light. It sends it instantly, regardless of distance, with no degradation." The room fell silent. Headmaster Doyen stepped forward, his ancient face unreadable. "This violates conventional quantum theory," he said quietly. "Only the conventional understanding of it," Ji-woo replied. For the first time, she saw respect in their eyes. Even Taejo appeared stunned. Within days, she was moved to an advanced research laboratory. Other students began asking for her help with their projects, but not everyone welcomed her success. Ji-woo noticed whispers stopping when she entered rooms. Some students from the Vex Collective, known for their technological superiority, watched her with cold eyes. "They're just jealous," Kyung assured her. "Your work could revolutionize galactic communication." One evening, working late, Ji-woo noticed unusual readings on her equipment. She traced the anomaly to a power coupling that seemed to have been tampered with. Before she could investigate further, the laboratory doors sealed shut. "System malfunction detected," announced the Academy's AI. "Emergency protocols engaged." Ji-woo tried to override the lockdown, but her access was denied. The equipment began to overheat, energy readings climbing to dangerous levels. "Help!" she shouted, pounding on the sealed doors. "Something's wrong with the system." The explosion knocked her unconscious. When she awoke in the medical bay, security officers stood over her bed. "Jiwoo Park," said Chief Security Officer Nari, "you are accused of sabotage, destruction of Academy property, and endangering personnel." "That's impossible," Jiwoo protested. "I was trying to prevent it." But the evidence seemed damning. Security. Footage showed her accessing restricted system controls minutes before the explosion. Her work was labeled unstable and dangerous. 3 days later, before a silent assembly, Headmaster Doyen formally expelled her from the academy. As they escorted her to the transport ship, Jiwoo looked back at the crystal spires one last time. "I'll prove them wrong," she whispered. "Someday, I'll come back." The return shuttle to Earth felt cold and empty. Jiwoo stared out the viewport as the Academy planet shrank to a distant dot. At just 12 years old, she had become a symbol of human failure on the galactic stage. News reports had already reached Earth. Human prodigy expelled for sabotage. Her parents met her at the landing pad, their faces a mix of concern and disappointment. Reporters shouted questions, their cameras capturing her tear-streaked face. "Did you really destroy an academy laboratory? Was it too advanced for you? Does this prove humans aren't ready for galactic education?" Jiwoo couldn't answer. The evidence against her had seemed so real. Yet she knew she hadn't done it. For months, she barely left her room. Former teachers who had once praised her brilliance now spoke of her in whispers. Government officials who had funded her academy. Placement avoided meetings with her family. The world had expected her to open doors for humanity. Instead, those doors had slammed shut. On her 13th birthday, a package arrived with no return address. Inside was a data crystal and a note that read, "Not everyone believes what they were told. Keep working. H." The crystal contained research notes from Professor Hana, the only academy instructor who had privately questioned Jiwoo's guilt. Included were classified files about quantum communication technology, the very field Jiwoo had been exploring before her expulsion. That night, Jiwoo made a decision. If she couldn't clear her name yet, she would at least continue her work. By 14, she had convinced her parents to move to a remote research station in the mountains. The facility had been abandoned years ago when funding dried up, but its basic equipment still functioned. Here, away from prying eyes and painful memories, Jiwoo threw herself into her research. "You don't have to hide away," her mother said one evening. "You could still attend any university on Earth." "I'm not hiding," Jiwoo replied. "I'm preparing." Days blurred into months and months into years. While her former classmates advanced through the academy, Jiwoo worked alone. The mountain snow piled up outside her windows each winter and melted away each spring. Her only regular contact with the scientific community came through secure transmissions with Professor Hana, who sent information about academy developments when she could. On Jiwoo's 18th birthday, Hana sent a recording of a new communication system unveiled at the academy. "Look familiar?" the professor asked in her message. Jiwoo's hands trembled as she watched. The technology was derived from her prototype, the one destroyed in the explosion. Someone had recreated her work, but hadn't quite understood it. The system worked, but inefficiently. "They're using my ideas," she whispered. "But who stole them?" This revelation sparked a new direction in her research. By day, she improved her quantum theories. By night, she analyzed the security footage from her expulsion, applying new image enhancement techniques to find signs of tampering. On her 25th birthday, a breakthrough came. Using advanced algorithms, she discovered subtle inconsistencies in the security video. The footage had been expertly edited, but tiny glitches revealed manipulation. "I need more evidence," she told Professor Hana during their encrypted call. "This isn't enough to prove my innocence. Be careful," Hana warned. "Whoever framed you holds significant power at the academy. Several researchers who questioned your expulsion faced career setbacks afterward." 5 more years passed. Jiwoo's small laboratory grew into a comprehensive research facility as her private work attracted discreet funding from Earth corporations. Her quantum communication technology had evolved far beyond her original academy prototype. Professor, Hana's messages grew less frequent and more cautious. Political shifts in the academy, she explained vaguely. Some species are pushing for stronger restrictions on sharing technology with developing worlds like Earth. On a stormy night in her 32nd year, as lightning illuminated the mountains around her facility, Jiwoo finally completed her evidence file. Frame-by-frame analysis proved conclusively that someone had altered the security footage. Energy, readings from the day of the explosion, showed external interference. Most damning of all, she had traced digital signatures in the Academy's backup systems to identify who had accessed and modified the records. The Vex Collective. The subtle jab made several committee members shift uncomfortably. Good. She wanted them uncomfortable. Your quarters have been prepared in the diplomatic wing, said a tall aide. The summit begins tomorrow morning. As they escorted her through familiar hallways, Jiwoo noticed how students stopped to stare. Some pointed and whispered behind their hands or tentacles. Her story had clearly become Academy legend. The human child who had sabotaged a lab and returned decades later as an official representative. Her diplomatic quarters were luxurious compared to her old student room, spacious with actual windows overlooking the academy grounds. A small communications console chimed as soon as the door closed behind her. Secure transmission from Professor Hana, announced the system. Hana's face appeared, older, but still kind. You made it. Be careful, Jiwoo. The political landscape has shifted dramatically. The Vex Collective now holds 3 council seats. The same group that framed me, Jiwoo said. They've been restricting technology sharing with developing worlds for years. Earth's recent advances in quantum theory threaten their position. After the transmission ended, Jiwoo unpacked her small bag, including a hidden data crystal containing her evidence. 20 years of work, proof of her innocence, and she still wasn't sure when, or if, to reveal it. The summit opening ceremony the next morning gathered representatives from 200 worlds in the Grand Hall. Jiwoo attracted curious glances as she took her seat among the Earth delegation. The famous human returns, said a voice beside her. Jiwoo turned to find one of the Luminar, a species known for their analytical minds and bioluminescent skin. This one's skin pulsed with soft blue patterns. I'm Minji, she introduced herself. I studied your original quantum work before the incident. Jiwoo tensed. Most people here prefer to pretend that work never existed. Most people fear what challenges their understanding, Minji replied. I found your theories fascinating even then. Before Jiwoo could respond, the ceremony began. Headmaster Doyun's speech celebrated 2,000 years of academy leadership in galactic science, followed by presentations from each major world. When Earth's turn came, Jiwoo took the podium. 20 years ago I left this academy in disgrace, she began, her voice steady. Today, I return representing Earth's Quantum Communication Initiative. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Our research has overcome the distance limitations in traditional communication technology. We can now transmit data instantaneously across any distance without degradation. The Vex Collective representatives straightened in their seats, their scaled skin darkening in what Jiwoo recognized as alarm. A live demonstration, she continued, activating a small device on her wrist. A holographic display appeared above the podium, showing a woman in an Earth laboratory. Hello, Academy, the woman said, her image perfectly clear despite being 16 light-years away. I'm speaking to you in real time, with 0 transmission delay. Stunned silence fell across the hall, followed by excited conversation. The technology Jiwoo had begun developing as a child had evolved into something revolutionary, something that would transform galactic communication. At the reception afterward, Jiwoo found herself surrounded by curious scientists and diplomats. The Vex representatives kept their distance, watching with cold eyes. Quite an entrance, said Minji, appearing at her side again. The Vex look ready to molt their skins in frustration. They seem upset by a simple communication advance, Jiwoo replied carefully. Because communication is power, Minji said, lowering her voice. Their monopoly on faster-than-light technologies has given them political leverage for centuries. As the reception continued, Jiwoo noticed a familiar face across the room. Kyung, her former classmate, now wore the insignia of an Academy Council member. He caught her eye and nodded slightly. Later that evening, as Jiwoo returned to her quarters, a message waited. Security Council demonstration tomorrow. Your technology has been selected for military assessment. Attached was a classified file showing plans for weaponizing quantum communication systems, using principles identical to her childhood design, but twisted into something dangerous. Someone had taken her original work and developed it into a weapon that could remotely disable any ship's systems instantaneously. This is what they feared, she whispered, suddenly understanding why she had been framed all those years ago. They didn't just want my technology, they wanted to make sure no one else could develop it first. Jiwoo stared at the plans, her vindication overshadowed by a new concern. Her return to the academy had just become much more complicated than clearing her name. Jiwoo couldn't sleep. The discovery that her childhood innovation had been weaponized troubled her deeply. She had created the quantum link technology to connect worlds, not disable ships or potentially kill people. Someone had not only stolen her work but perverted its purpose. Dawn brought a message from Kyung requesting a meeting in the botanical gardens. The gardens remained Jiwoo's favorite place in the academy, a peaceful collection of plants from across the galaxy, arranged in harmonious patterns. You look well, all things considered, Kyung said as she approached. His tall frame had filled out and ceremonial council markings now adorned his face. 20 years can change anyone, Jiwoo replied cautiously, even someone unfairly expelled. Kyung's eyes darted to a nearby security drone. Walk with me. Some areas have fewer monitoring systems. As they moved deeper into the garden, past flowering vines that changed color in response to nearby emotions, Kyung spoke quietly. There was another lab accident yesterday. Sector 7. Accidents seem common here, Jiwoo said. Only when certain research threatens established powers, Kyung replied. The pattern seems familiar, doesn't it? A promising technology, a mysterious malfunction, evidence pointing to researcher error. Jiwoo stopped walking. You didn't believe I was guilty. Many of us had doubts, but questioning the official story wasn't safe then. It still isn't. A group of students passed by, forcing them to pause their conversation. When they were alone again, Kyung continued. I've been monitoring unusual academy activity for years. Certain projects disappear from records. Researchers get reassigned. Sometimes, like in your case, more dramatic measures are taken. Why tell me this now? Because you're in danger again. Your demonstration yesterday activated old fears. The Vex Collective controls most interstellar communication networks. Your technology could end their monopoly overnight. Jiwoo considered. This. I need access to the Academy archives, the complete records from 20 years ago. Impossible, Kyung said. Those are restricted to council members and Earth's official envoy. Jiwoo finished, holding up her diplomatic credentials. I just need someone to show me where to look. The next morning, Jiwoo requested access to historical records to prepare Earth's contribution to the Academy Centennial celebration. The request was approved with apparent reluctance. The archive room hummed with energy as data crystals stored the collective knowledge of thousands of civilizations. A young assistant named Junho showed her to a private viewing station. If you need anything, just ask, he said, though most envoys prefer more current information. Once alone, Jiwoo inserted a small device into the console, a bypass program she had spent years developing. The screen flickered briefly as it overrode security protocols, giving her access to restricted files. Let's see what you're hiding, she whispered. Hour after hour, Jiwoo dug through records, official reports of her expulsion, security logs, communications between Academy officials. Most matched what she already knew, but occasionally she found discrepancies that supported her sabotage theory. Then she discovered something unexpected, a classified file about a group called the Preservation Order. Access denied, the system announced when she tried to open it. That night in her quarters, Jiwoo received an unexpected visitor. Minji arrived with what appeared to be a ceremonial gift, a glowing crystal sculpture typical of Luminar diplomatic exchanges. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Minji said loudly, then leaned close to whisper, "The room is monitored. The sculpture disrupts surveillance." Once the crystal was activated, creating a soft humming field around them, Minji's demeanor changed completely. "You've been accessing restricted files," she said urgently. "They know." "Who knows?" "The Preservation Order. They're not just a political faction, they're a secret society within the Academy. They've been controlling technological development for centuries, ensuring no species advances too quickly." Jiwoo's mind raced. "And they saw my technology as a threat. It would have given humans too much advancement too soon. The Order believes in controlled progress, with them deciding who gets what technology and when." "How do you know all this?" Minji's skin patterns shifted to a deep purple, the Luminar expression of regret. "Because my parent was once a member. They left the Order when they saw what happened to you. Your case divided them internally." The revelation stunned Jiwoo. "I need proof to clear my name." "There's more," Minji continued. "The Order isn't just concerned with your old technology. They're worried about what you've developed since. The demonstration yesterday terrified them. So they'll try to stop me again," Jiwoo concluded. "They already are. Your quarters were searched today while you were in the archives. They're looking for your research data." Jiwoo nodded toward her personal bag. "They won't find anything. I didn't bring the complete specifications." A soft ping from Minji's communication device interrupted them. Her skin flashed alarm patterns. "We have a problem. Security just issued an order restricting your access. They're claiming irregularities in your credentials. I need to get back to the archives tonight. There's still something missing from my evidence." Minji's skin pattern swirled anxiously. "I can help you get in, but we'll only have minutes before security systems detect us." That night, using Minji's academy access, they slipped into the darkened archive room. Jiwoo worked quickly, bypassing security to access the most restricted files. "Here," she finally said, downloading data to her device. "Communications between Preservation Order members the day of the explosion. This proves they planned everything." As the final files transferred, the lights suddenly blazed on. Jiwoo looked up to find herself surrounded by security officers. "Earth Envoy Jiwoo Park," said a tall figure stepping forward from behind the officers. "How predictable that we would find you breaking into secure archives." The Vex Collective's senior representative smiled coldly. "History does repeat itself, doesn't it?" The security officers moved forward with restraint devices, but Jiwoo remained strangely calm. The Vex representative's smile faltered as she made no attempt to run or resist. "Attempting to steal Academy secrets again?" he asked, his scaled skin glistening under the harsh lights. "I don't need to steal what I already have," Jiwoo replied. She glanced at Minji, who had been separated from her and was being questioned by another officer. The Vex representative leaned closer. "Whatever evidence you think you have won't matter. No one will believe a human who was expelled in disgrace." Jiwoo smiled. "I'm not the same frightened child you framed 20 years ago." With a quick movement, she pressed a hidden button on her wrist device. Her body shimmered and then vanished completely, leaving the security officers grasping at empty air. Across the Academy, in her quarters, Jiwoo's physical form materialized. The personal teleportation device she had developed during her wilderness years had worked perfectly. It was technology the Academy believed impossible. Another creation they had underestimated. She worked quickly, gathering her evidence and sending emergency signals to both Professor Hana and Kyung. Within minutes, her door burst open as security forces stormed in, but they found only an empty room and an active holographic message set to play on their arrival. Too slow again. "Meet me in the council chamber if you want the truth." The Grand Council chamber was typically reserved for the most important Academy meetings. Tonight it sat empty and dark, As Jiwoo slipped in through a service entrance Kyung had told her about. She moved to the central podium and began connecting her devices to the main systems. "You won't succeed," came a voice from the shadows. The Vex representative emerged, flanked by 2 guards. "This childish game ends now." "I agree," Jiwoo said, activating the chamber's communication system. "That's why I've just broadcast an emergency session notification to all council members and diplomatic envoys." The Vex representative lunged toward her but stopped when the chamber doors opened. Academy officials, diplomatic representatives, and curious students began streaming in, responding to the unprecedented middle-of-night summons. Headmaster Doyen arrived, his ancient face creased with anger. "Explain this disruption, Earth Envoy." "I'd rather show you," Jiwoo replied, activating the massive display screens that lined the chamber walls. The screens filled with evidence, the doctored security footage from 20 years ago shown side by side with her enhanced analysis revealing the tampering, communications between Preservation Order members discussing the need to deal with the human problem, financial records showing the Order's connections to the Vex Collective and their monopoly on communication technology. 20 years ago, I was framed because my innovation threatened powerful interests, Jiwoo announced to the stunned audience. The Preservation Order, working with the Vex Collective, sabotaged my lab and falsified evidence to have me expelled. The Vex representative's scales darkened with rage. "These are fabrications. This human seeks to damage our reputation with lies." Professor Hana stepped forward from the crowd. "The evidence is genuine. I verified it independently over many years." Kyung joined her, as have I, and other council members who suspected the truth. More allies emerged, Minji, Junho, and others who had helped Jiwoo during her return. The chamber erupted in heated debate as species from across the galaxy confronted the implications of this conspiracy. Headmaster Doyen raised his hands for silence, his ancient eyes fixed on Jiwoo with an unreadable expression. "Is revenge your purpose here, Earth Envoy?" he asked quietly. "To destroy careers and alliances built over centuries?" Jiwoo shook her head. "Not revenge. Reform. The Academy was founded to share knowledge across species, not control who gets access to which technologies." She activated a final display, showing her complete quantum communication designs. "I'm releasing my full research to all Academy members, freely and equally. Knowledge shouldn't be weaponized or monopolized." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Some species representatives looked alarmed, others relieved. The Vex Collective members huddled together, whispering urgently. In the days that followed, the Academy experienced its greatest upheaval in centuries. The Preservation Order was officially disbanded. Several council members, including the Vex representatives, resigned in disgrace. Records of manipulated expulsions and sabotaged research going back hundreds of years came to light. 1 month after the dramatic council session, Jiwoo stood in a newly renovated laboratory. The plaque beside the door read, "Cross-Species Innovation. Center Director Jiwoo Park." Headmaster Doyen visited as she was settling in. Age had seemed to claim him more rapidly in recent weeks, his frame more bent, his movements slower. "The Academy formally acknowledges its error in your case," he said, placing a crystal of reinstatement on her desk. "Your student record has been cleared." 20 years late, Jiwoo noted without bitterness. Yes. For the first time she saw genuine regret in his ancient eyes. "I trusted systems I should have questioned. We all did." As he turned to leave, he paused at the door. "Your first students arrive tomorrow. 30 of them, from 25 different worlds, including Earth. 2 humans. Young ones." A faint smile crossed his face. "Try not to let them blow anything up." After he left, Jiwoo stood at the window, watching the dual sun set behind the crystal spires. The child who had arrived here with dreams of belonging had returned as a woman who would change how the Academy itself belonged to the galaxy. Tomorrow, her real work would begin.